Welcome to Concrete Block, the podcast where we dive into the world's most pressing issues and explore the complexities behind the headlines. I'm your host, Walter, and I'm glad you're joining us today. We're starting off with a story that's been making waves in Southeast Asia, the recent border clashes between Thailand and Cambodia. The conflict has left many wondering what sparked the violence and what the future holds for these two nations. To give you some context, the tensions between Thailand and Cambodia have been simmering for years, with disputes over territory, trade, and politics. However, the latest escalation has resulted in significant damage to infrastructure and loss of life on both sides. One of the key factors contributing to the conflict is the long-standing disagreement over an ancient temple, which has been a source of tension between the two countries. Additionally, there are concerns about Cambodia's increasingly close relationship with China, which has led to a shift in the regional balance of power. The Thai military has been actively involved in the conflict, and there are worries that the situation could spiral out of control. The international community has called for calm and restraint, but it remains to be seen whether the two sides can find a peaceful resolution. It's also worth noting that the conflict has had a significant impact on civilians on both sides of the border. Many have been forced to flee their homes, and there are reports of damage to critical infrastructure, including hospitals and schools. As we delve deeper into this story, it's essential to consider the complex web of factors at play. We'll be exploring the historical context, the political motivations, and the human cost of the conflict. We'll also be examining the role of external actors, such as China and the United States, in shaping the dynamics of the region. And we'll be talking to experts and individuals on the ground to get a better understanding of the situation. So, let's take a closer look at the Thai-Cambodian border conflict and what it means for the region and the world. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Concrete Block. Welcome back to Concrete Block. We're diving into the world of international news, where tensions are running high and diplomacy is being put to the test. Today, we're focusing on a developing story that has significant implications for global relations. We've got our eyes on Russia, where President Putin has been making headlines with his latest moves. According to reports from Foreign Policy, Putin has warned of potential consequences if certain actions are taken by other nations. This comes amidst ongoing tensions between Russia and various countries, including the United States. Now, let's take a closer look at the situation. Russian officials have stated that they will not hesitate to respond if their interests are threatened. This has led to concerns about the potential for escalation and the impact it could have on global stability. On the other side of the equation, we have the United States, which has been taking a firm stance on various issues related to Russia. The Trump administration has imposed sanctions and taken other measures to address what they see as Russian aggression. As we navigate this complex situation, it's essential to consider multiple perspectives and avoid jumping to conclusions. We need to examine the facts, analyze the motivations of all parties involved, and strive for a deeper understanding of the issues at play. In related news, there have been developments in Ukraine, where the conflict has been ongoing for years. The United Nations has reported human rights abuses and potential war crimes, highlighting the need for a peaceful resolution to the conflict. As we continue to monitor these events, it's crucial to prioritize fairness, balance, and accuracy in our reporting. We must avoid perpetuating biases or stereotypes, and instead focus on providing insightful analysis and thoughtful commentary. With that said, we'll be keeping a close eye on these developments and bringing you updates as more information becomes available. For now, let's take a step back and consider the broader implications of these events. Stay tuned for our final story of the day, right here on Concrete Block. Welcome back to Concrete Block. We're wrapping up today's show with a thought-provoking discussion on the potential consequences of a complete U.S. troop withdrawal from Iraq. As we've been exploring throughout this episode, the situation is complex and multifaceted. To give you a brief rundown, plans are underway for a U.S. military withdrawal from Iraq, with some analysts predicting that this could lead to a resurgence of violent groups like the Islamic State. Others argue that the militant group is no longer a significant threat in Iraq, having failed to rebuild its manpower and networks. We've also heard from experts who believe that a complete withdrawal would be detrimental to Iraq's stability, citing the lessons learned from the 2011 withdrawal, which led to the rise of the Islamic State. They argue that Iraq still needs U.S. support to counter the threat posed by extremist groups, particularly in neighboring Syria. On the other hand, some analysts think that Iraqi Kurdistan could be a potential spot for U.S. forces to stay behind, given the region's pro-American sentiments and desire for protection against any potential aggression from Baghdad. It's also worth noting that a complete U.S. withdrawal could have unintended consequences, such as allowing Iran to reassert its influence in the region and potentially using Iraq's resources to rebuild its military capacity. As we consider these various perspectives, it's essential to approach this topic with nuance and balance. While some may argue that the U.S. has a responsibility to maintain a presence in Iraq to ensure stability, others may counter that it's time for the Iraqi government to take ownership of its security and for the U.S. to focus on its own national interests. Ultimately, the decision to withdraw troops from Iraq is a complex one, with far-reaching implications. As we continue to follow this story, we'll be sure to bring you updates and insights from experts on all sides of the debate. That's all for today's Concrete Block. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, stay informed.